There is a continent where time doesn't simply move forward, it coils back into circles of memory. Where the ancient isn't buried, but still alive, in stone, in temples, and in the eyes of its people. Where nature isn't still, but roars through volcanoes, breathes deep in the jungle, and melts slowly through icy rivers. This is the Americas. A land of beginnings, kishin, and unhealed fractures. From forgotten civilizations to cities born of hope and exile. Every landscape has a soul. Every soul, a legend waiting to be told. And this journey is your key to unlocking 1,000 worlds hidden within one continent. So tell me, where will you begin? With the echoes of Machu Picchu, the salt flats that mirror the sky, or the streets where salsa and sorrow dance hand in hand. Come with me, from north to south, across 20 untold stories, 20 heartbeats sync to the rhythm of this land. Your compass is curiosity. The map, rewritten with every step. And now, the journey begins. Over 12,000 years ago, the first humans set foot on this wild frontier, leaving behind traces in caves and valleys that still whisper their presence. This is Patagonia, a vast, windswept region shared by Argentina and Chile. Long the subject of territorial disputes, it remains above all a land where nature speaks louder than borders. Here, elusive pumas and herds of guanacos move silently across the open steppe. Beneath these lands once walked Dreadnoughtus, among the largest dinosaurs ever to roam the Earth. Patagonia is a place shaped by extremes, where icy winds howl and glaciers rise like frozen fortresses against the sky. From the mighty Andes to sweeping plains, every landscape here feels like a scene from another world. Lakes reflect skies of a deeper blue, and rivers carve their way through stone as if tracing ancient paths. Winters are long and snow-laden. Summers burst with raw, vibrant life. This harshness isn't a burden, but the very essence of its beauty. Patagonia also stands as a threshold to Antarctica itself. Its rugged shores face two mighty oceans, where the Atlantic and Pacific meet, blending waters and mysteries. It is a land that calls to the wanderer. And perhaps there is no place more fitting than Patagonia to begin a journey across the Americas, mysterious and spellbinding. Amid the windswept vastness of Patagonia, a small village emerges, Elche, resting quietly at the base of Mount Fitzroy. Towering in granite and cloud, this peak once moved Charles Darwin to write, "Nature here growls in the beauty of its own essence." And so begins the journey, where wilderness speaks in stone and sky. The name El Chaltén, in the language of the native Tehuelche people, means smoking mountain, as Fitzroy is almost always shrouded in clouds, giving the impression of smoldering silently in the sky. To the Tehuelche, this was a sacred peak, where myth tells of the hero Elal, who defeated the forces of ice to protect humankind. But El Chaltén itself was only officially founded in 1985 as a civilian outpost established by Argentina to assert sovereignty over a disputed border with Chile. Among jagged peaks and deep blue glaciers, a tiny modern community began to take root in the early 1980s, born from a quiet border dispute with Chile and settled by soldiers and rangers. Today, El Chaltén is known as the trekking capital of Argentina, a title formally granted by Congress in 1994. Yet between the recognition and the reality, the village has preserved an unexplainable rawness, a place where footsteps speak and the heart comes alive. Begin the trek at dawn. Wander through quiet Lenga forests, cross thunderous meltwater cascades, and reach Laguna Capri, a clear blue lake that mirrors the silhouette of Fitzroy like a dream framed by wilderness. The final stretch toward Laguna de los Tres is among the steepest and most demanding. Winds scream past the ears, stones shift beneath each step, and the heartbeat races, but in that moment, one feels most intensely what it means to exist. And upon reaching the top, all fatigue fades. Fitzroy is no longer just a mountain. It becomes a witness to the kind of beauty that only reveals itself when one transcends oneself. Returning to El Chaltén after the journey, the village reappears with its quiet, distinct charm. Just a few narrow streets, simple wooden houses tucked beneath wildflower-laced sidewalks, and colorful hand-painted signs. One would never guess this village was born from a border strategy. But now, it lives by tourism and dreams. The air carries the spirit of El Gaucho, untamed, free, and slightly wistful. Cozy cafes, pinewood taverns, and locals who seem to have lived their entire lives just to tell stories of mountains, of wind, of fragile existence at the end of the world. But after days wandering among peaks and sunlight, what awaits to the south, where ice never sleeps and time is imprisoned in every crack? From the sunlit trails of Fitzroy, just a few hours by road led to a colossal living ice mass, where time stands still in the echo of fracturing icebergs. Perito Moreno is a living wonder. While most glaciers around the world are retreating, this one continues to move forward, like a miracle unfolding in the age of climate change. The spectacular Perito Moreno Glacier is one of the highlights of Los Glaciares National Park in southern Patagonia, Argentina, and stands as one of the most famous glaciers on Earth. Covering an area of 250 square kilometers and stretching 5 kilometers across, it is considered among the most impressive on the planet. Formed by thousands of years of accumulated snowfall, compressed into dense ice, the glacier is a monument to time itself. Yet what makes Perito Moreno truly exceptional is its ongoing cycle of renewal, persisting even as the planet warms. Each day, the glacier advances by more than 2 meters, slowly, yet with relentless determination. Step aboard a boat, drifting past towering ice walls that rise up to 70 meters, like the fortifications of an ancient, frozen citadel. The ice shimmers in a blue unlike any other, deep, pristine, and cold, as though holding the memory of a prehistoric Earth. A walk upon the glacier is an unforgettable experience. Outfitted with crampons, each step leads into another world, where time stands still and sound is swallowed by perfect silence. Walking on the glacier is among the most awe-inspiring activities one can do here, making the mini trek or big ice excursions highly recommended. What's the difference between the two? The Big Ice Tour allows for more time on the glacier, taking visitors farther and deeper into its icy expanse. It follows a more remote route, often with fewer people, offering a richer and more adventurous experience. Some locals say, "When I was a child, the glacier was a friend." Now, I'm not sure how long it will survive. For them, climate change is not an abstract idea. It is rising waters each year, shorter winters, and an uncertain future. The glacier is part of the southern Patagonian ice field, the third largest freshwater reserve on the planet. There are several places to admire this icy expanse, including trails in Torres Del Paine, the Huimul Circuit in Elche, and the wooden walkways facing the Perito Moreno Glacier itself. This is undoubtedly one of the most powerful moments of any journey through Patagonia, not only because the glacier is mesmerizing, but also because it feels alive. Large ice chunks break away and crash into the turquoise water below. Standing before this towering wall of ice, the noise of social media, deadlines, and distant plans all fade. Every ambition, every to-do, seems small. Then, like a reminder from the Earth itself, a massive block collapses into the lake. The sound reverberates through the chest like the Earth exhaling. What could glacial meltwater from the highlands create that is more wondrous than ice and mountains? From the frozen lands of Argentina, the journey crosses the Andes into Chilean territory, where Lake General Carrera stretches vast and boundless between two nations. As glaciers groan and crack like nature's ancient heartbeat, the journey carries us onward. Beyond borders, across the Andes, into wilder realms still. From Argentina, they stepped into the Chilean side of Patagonia, a place marked by a national park with a name both strange and beautiful, Torres del Paine. In the ancient Aaonakenk language, those three words mean the Blue Towers. On the map, Torres del Paine is a land of 450,000 acres stretching from the Andes to the windswept plains of Patagonia. But in their memory, it became its own universe, where sky, earth, water, stone, and wind spoke in a silent tongue. Millions of years ago, the South American and Antarctic tectonic plates collided, thrusting ancient rock toward the sky. Then came the glaciers, scouring the land, carving deep U-shaped valleys, sapphire glacial lakes, and immense ice fields like Gray and Dixon. It was this same ancient ice that sculpted Perito Moreno in Argentina, a living testament to the strange unity between two seemingly separate lands. At the heart of the park stands the Cordillera Paine. The three iconic granite spires of Torres del Paine rise like the teeth of the earth, each more than 2,500 meters tall. Nearby, Los Cuernos, the horns, reveal a dramatic contrast of light granite and dark sedimentary layers, forming surreal shapes as if lifted from a dream. On the steps, guanacos wander unhurried. Overhead, The great Andean condor glides at altitudes up to 4,000 meters. And in the shadows of ancient beech forests, the elusive puma moves with the hush of the wind. Only here can one truly sense the fragile, sacred balance between humanity and the wild. Before there were maps, tourists, or explorers, this land belonged to the Kawaiskar and Tehuelche peoples, nomadic tribes who lived in harmony with ice and wind. They built no houses. They built memory through campfires, stone carvings, and songs that spoke of mountains that could whisper. The journey begins along the legendary W Trek. Each day offers a new trial, from the vivid turquoise of Lake Nordenskjold to the mist-veiled French Valley, where the crack of calving ice echoes like a voice from another century. Along the way, fellow travelers appear, people from Berlin, Kyoto, São Paulo, speaking different tongues, yet sharing the same quiet awe before a beauty that defies description. At dawn, witness the 3 granite towers rise into the pale sky. As sunlight spills across their peaks, the cold gray stone turns soft pink, as though the mountains themselves are breathing. In that moment, no one speaks. No word could possibly hold what they are seeing. At night, soup boils on a makeshift stove, hands trembling from the cold, yet the heart feels unusually warm. A simple meal here carries more meaning than 100 banquets in the city. Standing atop Paine Grand, there is no longer the feeling of being a distant guest. No longer a visitor who came to check in or collect views. Only a human being, bare and quiet, facing a land that needs no adornment. And Torres del Paine, in that moment, is no longer just a destination. It becomes a feeling. A lesson in silence, in being alive, and in listening to the stories nature has always been trying to tell. Hidden deep within the lake, the marble caves emerge, carved by water and time, reflecting the quiet blue hues of a pristine Patagonia. Sitting on a small boat gliding over crystal clear water, each paddle stroke draws deeper into a marble labyrinth where the stone flows like fossilized silk. And the closer one drifts toward the heart of General Carrera Lake, the more the world outside begins to fade, until only silence, light, and stone remain. When the tiny boat pulled away from Puerto Tranquilo, you sat in silence, watching the glacial blue water stretch endlessly ahead. You had no idea that just moments later, you'd be gliding into a stone cathedral sculpted by water, light, and time itself. The marble arches rose above you like the ceilings of an ancient temple. Their surfaces were smooth, rippling in shades of turquoise, silver, and pale gold, reflecting the lake's colors like stained glass. You barely dared to breathe. As you drifted through narrow passages, the soft sound of water echoed all around, and the chill in the air felt impossibly pure. At one point, you reached out and touched the marble, cool, polished, alive. In that moment, it hit you. This wasn't just a pretty spot on a map. It was the result of millions of years, glacial waters carving patiently through stone, shaping something sacred in its silence. You had seen so much of Patagonia by then, windswept peaks, endless steppe, and wild coastlines, but nothing prepared you for the quiet wonder of this place. As you left the caves behind, their shimmering light stayed with you, like a whisper that Patagonia still has more stories to tell, if you're willing to keep exploring. In southern Chile, where ocean and rainforest meet beneath drifting fog, lies an island caught between dream and memory. Though just a few kilometers from the mainland, Chiloé feels like it belongs to another realm, soft, damp, and veiled in moss and myth. Who would imagine that in one of the rainiest places in Chile? More than 70 handmade wooden churches rise from the mist, so unique that UNESCO had to take note. These churches are unlike any others. Curved rooftops like ocean swells, shingled walls shaped like fish scales, painted in pastel creams, duck egg blue, and lilac. Believe it or not, local carpenters built them using thousand-year-old Elche wood, all without a single iron nail. Beyond the churches, Chiloé is known for its stilt houses by the sea, palafitos, where half the home floats in the fog and the other half reflects on still water. In Castro, the island's capital, many old palafitos have been transformed into cafes, boutique hotels, and cozy seafood taverns hugging the bay. But Chiloé is not just for architecture or cuisine. It is a land of legends, where stories are whispered through the forest mist. Children here grow up hearing tales of Trauco, a forest dwarf with a gaze said to render women helpless. Out at sea, fishermen speak of La Pincoya, a golden-haired water spirit whose dance foretells whether the fishing season will thrive or fail. And on foggy nights, some swear they've seen Kalush, the glowing ghost ship drifting silently through the bays, carrying soul and sorcerers. Chiloé was once the last stronghold of the Spanish crown in Chile, refusing to surrender until 1826. Isolated for centuries, the island cultivated its own unique culture, where Catholicism merged with the ancient beliefs of the Huilliche people. During festivals, wooden crosses are carried through fishing villages soaked in fog, while inside homes, quiet ceremonies call for rain, good harvests, and protection for loved ones. Here, the Chilat people believe in a world where the visible and invisible intertwine, where every gust of wind and mountain stream holds a spirit. Local shamans, known as Machi, are both spiritual healers and guardians of the land. Have you ever tasted curanto, a traditional feast of shellfish, meat, and potatoes, slow steamed in a pit dug into the earth, covered with nalca leaves? It's more than food, it's a ritual. A moment of waiting and sharing, where each mussel, each potato seems to absorb the soul of the sea and forest steam. On mist-covered hills, farmers grow ancestral potatoes, with hundreds of native varieties found nowhere else but here. The island's ecosystem is remarkably rich. Humboldt penguins, Chimango caracara bird, and even the world's smallest deer, the pudu, all call Chiloé home. Some say Chiloé is an island that keeps its secrets, and its forests hold mysteries that refuse to vanish. Deep within its evergreen forests, it's said that sorcerers still perform secret rituals in hidden caves. These ceremonies, called machitun, summon spirits, heal the sick, and even control the weather. Guarding the cave is the Invunch, a deformed being born of ancient spells, whose twisted body ensures that no outsider learns the island's secrets. Only the chosen ever witness these midnight rites, held during rainstorms thick as curtains. And one day, if you stand by the cold shores of Cayón, the southernmost tip of the island, listen carefully. Is that the sound of waves or the distant singing of the calucho? After drifting through the misty legends of Chiloé, the journey turns southeast across skies and sea. A short flight from Puerto Montt to Punta Arenas, followed by a connection to Ushuaia, leads to the southernmost city on Earth. And just 12 kilometers west of Ushuaia, a different world begins, Tierra del Fuego National Park, where the Andes surrender to the sea. It's the only national park in Argentina where forest, mountain, and ocean coexist in a single protected area. How often does one stand in a place where glaciers, lenga forests, and marine bays all lie within walking distance? Spanning over 68,000 hectares, this park shelters subantarctic ecosystems shaped by wind, silence, and time. The air here is among the purest in Argentina, crisp, fragrant with moss and beach, and carrying a chill from the Beagle Channel. Among the trees, the lenga and coihue dominate, tall, patient witnesses of centuries of wind and snow. In autumn, the forest ignites in a mosaic of red, gold, and green, an unforgettable Patagonian palette. The park is home to over 90 bird species. Look closely. Was that a black-browed albatross soaring near the cliffs? Red foxes, Andean condors, southern steamer ducks. Each encounter feels like a small miracle. Lake Asagami, known also as Lake Roca, stretches peacefully between mountains, its still surface reflecting clouds like a giant mirror. A quiet trail along the lake leads to milestone 24, the invisible line where Argentina touches Chile. Along the rugged coastline, La Pataya Bay marks the final point of National Route 3 and of the legendary Pan American Highway. Can one really reach the end of the world by road? At La Pataya, the answer stares back in the form of a simple wooden sign. Hiking lovers will find a network of 40 kilometers of well-marked trails, each offering its own scenery and rhythm. The Senda Costera Trail winds beside the Beagle Channel, waves on one side, lenga groves on the other. Curious about plants? Spot the caliphate, the shara, or even the chocolate-scented Nassalvia hiding in the underbrush. The peat bogs here, soft, sponge-like ecosystems, preserve ancient plant life and hold more water than they appear. One can even canoe gently through the park's inlets, letting the silence speak louder than words. Established in 1960, Tierra del Fuego National Park was Argentina's first national park to touch the ocean. And maybe that's what makes this place so rare, not just its biodiversity, but the quiet, solemn sense that this is nature's last whispered chapter before Antarctica. Leaving behind the silence of Tierra del Fuego's ancient forests, only to discover another kind of quiet. Before you lies a turquoise mirror, resting gently in the cradle of snow-dusted mountains. Laguna Esmeralda appears like a secret long whispered by glaciers, its milky green waters glowing with something otherworldly. The air smells of damp earth and moss, and each step deeper feels like crossing into something untouched, something primal. You cross small creeks, wander through valleys shaped by beavers' dams, and then, suddenly, the forest parts. The water isn't just green, it's milky, cold, and luminous, shifting from soft jade to icy turquoise under the moving sky. They say this color comes from the glacier above, Ojo del Albino, its slow melt grinding rocks into fine powder. This powder floats in the water, catching light like crushed glass and giving the lagoon its almost unreal glow. Surrounded by mountains that seem close enough to touch, the lagoon feels like it was placed here to be forgotten. Sometimes the peaks reflect so perfectly on the surface, the line between earth and sky disappears. In autumn, the forest behind the lagoon burns gold and crimson, while in winter, everything turns white and still. The path here is only about 4.5 kilometers one way, but the shifting terrain, peat bogs, roots, snow, keeps things interesting. Occasionally, the silence breaks, a bird's cry, wind across the ridge, or the distant creak of ice from the mountainside. There are no boats, no buildings, no fences, just water, wind, and the feeling that something ancient is watching. Most visitors sit quietly when they arrive, as if the place itself asks for it. Is there anywhere else in the world that gives you the sensation of crossing a continent and touching two oceans at once? That place is the Beagle Channel, a deep blue corridor at the southern tip of South America, where geographical, biological, and emotional borders blur into one. The Beagle Channel is a narrow stretch of water nearly 240 kilometers long, lying between the main island of Tierra del Fuego and a chain of pristine islands to the south. It does more than connect two oceans, the Atlantic and the Pacific. It also weaves history and nature together in a way few places can. The name Beagle comes from HMS Beagle, the very ship on which Charles Darwin, then just 22, first set foot during his global voyage. Can you imagine? It is here, among moss-covered cliffs and seabirds gliding in the cold wind, that the earliest sparks of what would become the theory of evolution stirred. Darwin recorded every detail with meticulous care: rock formations, geology, wind patterns, bird migrations, and the creatures of the sub-Antarctic waters. With each entry, he etched Beagle Channel into history as a vast open-air laboratory of natural wonder. In the 20th century, this seemingly tranquil waterway became the flashpoint of territorial disputes between Argentina and Chile. After decades of tense confrontation, the Beagle Channel came to symbolize both conflict and reconciliation in South America's history. Today, no visit is complete without seeing the Les Éclaireurs Lighthouse, Ushuaia's enduring emblem, sitting about 9 kilometers east of the city. Built in 1918 after Argentine naval surveys of the waters, it stands on rocks once dubbed the Scouts, Les Éclaireurs, by French captain Louis Marchal. The 11-meter red and white tower began operation in 1920 and still runs on solar power. Though often mistaken for the world's southernmost lighthouse in Jules Verne's writings, Les Éclaireurs has its own singular meaning, a beloved landmark etched into the hearts of Ushuaia's visitors. On calm days, the Beagle Channel reflects clouds, mountains, and snow in mirror-like perfection, creating a world where reality and reflection blur. Have you ever stood amidst that sight and wondered, am I dreaming? Across the scattered islands of the Channel, cormorants, seagulls, seals, and even Magellanic penguins live in harmony with the cold air and icy rocks. The penguins of Isla Martillo waddle in a way both amusing and deeply humbling. Some tours pause at nameless isles, where only moss, waves, and remnants of the Yamana people remain. The Yamana were indigenous inhabitants of all Tierra del Fuego before Europeans arrived. They never settled on land. They drifted through the Beagle Channel in small bark canoes, enduring the ice-cold wind and waters. They built fires on their boats to keep warm and dry seafood, and they smeared whale oil on their bodies to withstand the sub-Antarctic climate. The Yamana language even had terms for the crash of waves on rocks and the color of morning mist, a civilization born and lived entirely at the rhythm of wind and water. Can you imagine a world where humans are not separate from nature, but flow through it as if one with it? Along the Channel, there are moments when nature suddenly shifts. The Antarctic wind sweeps in, and the calm water erupts into foaming waves. That very unpredictability becomes Beagle Channel's own compelling magic. In certain stretches, glacial tongues slide from mountain to shore, and this is one of the rare places where ice and ocean meet right before your eyes. By afternoon, sunset pours its amber glow across the water. Do you feel as though you're drifting inside an unfinished oil painting? Here, stones are not merely stones. They are sculptures carved by wind and time. Some formations resemble human faces, others tower like spires. In winter, the channel nearly freezes solid. Silence blankets the scene. You hear only the howl of wind and the beat of your own heart among endless white, where everything feels surreal. Many travelers describe navigating the Beagle Channel as crossing into a place not of the human world. And it is precisely this profound isolation that gives the region its most poignant, resonant beauty. Sometimes, southern dolphins appear, surfacing beside the boat, then leaping through the tilted sunlight. Do you think there are moments where a single dolphin's leap justifies the entire journey? Sitting on a small boat drifting slowly through the Beagle Channel. Watching seagulls circle overhead while seals sunbathe lazily on the rocks, there's a strange feeling that creeps into the heart. A sense that this is the edge of the map, and all the world's rules seem to fall away. Ushuaia, a city between ocean and snow, emerges like a frozen dream. It brings back that first-time feeling, unfamiliar, yet oddly familiar. In this untamed nature, humankind is no longer the center, but a humble, fleeting part. Few know that Ushuaia was once a place of exile. The prison here was so cold that even the wind left marks on the stone walls. The dark hallways, the tiny cells, all still breathe the weight of history. This land also once welcomed Shackleton, the man who came not to conquer Antarctica, but to survive it. His story still lives on in the wind, in the snow, in every step travelers take today. And something in that pale, cold light makes one understand. Nature is not an enemy, it's a companion, if only one has the patience to listen. In Ushuaia, life moves slowly, just enough. If there's a chance, one should experience the warmth of a local kitchen, the rich scent of grilled lamb mingling with bursts of laughter. Outside, street performers play traditional instruments, tango melodies echoing through the crisp air as if warming the whole city. It brings a peace and simplicity like nothing else. The city isn't grand, but every slope, every colorful rooftop holds a strange kind of warmth. At the southernmost tip of Argentina lies Tierra del Fuego, the only national park in the country that combines three distinct ecosystems: marine, forest, and mountain. Its landscape is covered by lenga and guindo forests, along with vast peat bogs and pristine lakes, forming a rare natural setting of pure air and untouched beauty. This land was once home to the Yamana people more than 10,000 years ago, and traces of their presence still remain through ancient shell middens scattered along the coast. Along the park's trails, visitors may encounter native bird species such as the Magellanic goose, the steamer duck, or the black-browed albatross, accompanied by the rhythmic tapping of woodpeckers echoing through the woods. Did you know there's a train in Patagonia once used to carry prisoners? Today, it carries stories. He trained to the end of the world, El Tren del Fin del Mundo, runs just a few kilometers outside Ushuaia, the southernmost city in the world. Originally built to serve the infamous Ushuaia prison, it once transported timber cut by inmates from the surrounding forests. The line was abandoned in the 1940s, but later revived as a heritage railway, a moving window into the region's haunting past and breathtaking nature. The journey lasts about 1 hour, covering 7 kilometers through the Toro Gorge and Pipo River Valley, deep into the edge of Tierra del Fuego National Park. The train departs from the end of the world station, Estación del Fin del Mundo, and ends at Estación Parque Nacional. Along the way, it stops at Cascada La Macarena, where passengers can disembark to see a small waterfall and get a panoramic view of the valley. Inside the vintage-style carriages, restored with wood, brass, and large viewing windows, visitors sit comfortably while the Patagonian wilderness unfolds. Snow-covered lenga forests, peat bogs, and mountains veiled in mist. And standing before the red and white lighthouse on the Beagle Channel, where the sunset stretches like a golden thread between water and sky, one realizes Ushuaia isn't a destination. It's a whisper that the world still has silent corners, waiting to be gently touched. Patagonia ends here, where it seems to finish, but truly begins. Because when turning your back to leave Ushuaia, what you carry is not just memory, but a quiet urging to keep going. To explore the remaining colors of Argentina, from the ancient glaciers of El Calafate to the lively tango streets of Buenos Aires. This journey is not over. It has only just begun.